You might not know this, but your resume, at least a typical resume, goes through several hands through various phases during its life. And what we're going to talk about in this video right here is those different phases and what it actually goes through. So where does your resume go? We're going to look at what the possibilities are. We're going to look at the 10-second scan, the 30-second scan, and a potential hidden agenda. All these things that your resume has to overcome. First up, where does your resume go? Lots of resumes are sent out every year, right, to a whole bunch of companies. But only a very few of them actually make it to the interview stage. In fact, like I said before, usually about 1,100 resumes get sent in for one job. Now, what if you were a recruiter and you had to fill, one job? You've got 1,100 resumes to deal with, right? Well, what if you had 50 positions to fill? Now it gets pretty serious, right? So for that reason, one of the first things that happens with most resumes is electronic screening. And with electronic screening, there is basically just your resume is scanned, it's OCR'd, where they go in and they try to detect the fonts and characters and decide what kind of words are on there, and then it's looked at for just layout basically, and if it has the content that they think would be pertinent. So your resume can get eliminated in that electronic scan phase. But most resumes are going to make it through that part, right? Now, recruiters are kind of like a funnel. In a recruiter situation, a company has decided that they don't want the hassle of actually having to go through the resumes and find somebody who matches up. So recruiters actually have a database of thousands of resumes. And they pretty much want anybody to send in a resume because there's always a possibility that they could match that up with a company, whatever they happen to be looking for. So recruiters don't really care about you individually. They care about having a huge database of potential job applicants so that they can more accurately match up exactly what the hiring company is looking for. For example, the hiring company might say, we want somebody with this particular skill set. We don't necessarily care if they've got a good work history because we don't really need to keep them around. We might not keep them around. We just want somebody that knows how to do this, and we can put them on the job, and if it doesn't work out, we'll just let them go. So recruiters actually want, all kinds of resumes just so that they're able to fill the multiplicity of different positions that come to them. Now, HR staff are other people that might be doing the job of a recruiter. They might be receiving resumes. They might be taking care of even some of the interviewing. They could do a lot of stuff. But the problem is HR people do have a lot of jobs. They've got to fire people. They've got to investigate complaints within the company. They've got to deal with staffing. They've got a bunch of stuff. So since HR people deal so much with people and a lot of negativity, they are inherently negative themselves. They, in dealing with you, they're going to be kind of apprehensive. They're going to be suspicious even. Like, what trouble is this person going to be causing me? Because ultimately, that is the fact. If you come in there and you've got social issues, you're going to cause them problems. Now, whether they are the first person to receive your resume and look it over, or they're the last, eventually, if your resume floats around in the company, it's going to eventually land on someone's desk in HR, because they are, again, ultimately the people that deal with a lot of this stuff, and most big companies want somebody in HR to check it out, scrutinize it, find out, what is this person hiding? They deal with a whole lot of people. One sad thing that you have to be aware of, the potential that your resume could end up is in the hands of a receptionist or administrative assistant. Now, not that these are bad people or that, there's anything wrong with them. It's just a fact that most receptionists don't know very much about, the different jobs that we could be applying for. They don't know a lot of details. They don't know keywords. They don't know industry specifics. They don't know a lot of stuff. That's really not their job, and it's not to be expected. But the sad thing is they are a lot of times the person who receives that application or the resume. So, for example, you go online, you find a company, it says, would you like to submit a resume, and you do that online. A lot of times that gets forwarded to a receptionist or an administrative assistant. What they're going to do is actually look at it and based on what it looks like, maybe some keywords, then they're going to make a decision whether or not to forward that. Your potential supervisor could very easily end up with your resume. A lot of times they will. So what we're talking about here is the different hands that could grab hold of your resume while it's going through the company before you actually get to the phase where any kind of decisions really are made as far as actually interviewing you. Lot of different potential right here, right? Hiring manager, the one who's actually going to do the hiring. Very possible that they will get to check out your resume before an interview is conducted. All of these people could be one person. And what I mean by that is some smaller companies, even some medium-sized companies, might bundle some of this stuff together. So somebody in HR, they might do the hiring. They might do the interviewing. They might do everything. In fact, I was hired to a job which was a pretty medium-sized company. It was by no means a small company. And the HR person there did all of this. So that is a possibility. A lot of times it'll be different people, especially with larger companies, but it is possible that they will do, everything. So the 10-second scan, this is one of the most critical things. You're not going to believe this because remember I was talking about the receptionist? Well, a lot of times that receptionist is the first person to see your resume, or maybe an administrative assistant. So the thing is here, they're going to base their decision on whether or not to pass your resume along or to go ahead and trash it, right? Or as they would say, put it in the file. Well, they're going to base that on aesthetics, the way that it looks, and possibly they'll look for some keywords. That's about it. So you have got 10 to 15 seconds to make your impact. And let me tell you how you do that. On the resume itself, you would think people start at the top and they just read the whole thing, right? Nope, not right. Most people, about the top third of the page, if you went down to the bottom of the top third, that is where their eyes focus and they start reading. If you want to make your impact, you got to do it right there, because you've only got about 10-15 seconds of them looking at your page before they make a decision to either go on and look more detailed or go ahead and pitch it. That's it. 10 seconds to make your sales pitch. What you want to do is list specific qualifications and phrases that would be easily recognizable. The problem is, let's say that you're applying for a position that's very technical, okay? And in that being technical, there are some skills that you definitely have to have in order to do that job. So you have got experience exactly doing that very thing. And in the past, you've got excellent examples of accomplishing the goal. If, though, you put on there that, last year you were able to accomplish doing, setting up a new website or something like that. However, you do not list the programming languages that you had to know in order to accomplish that goal. To the receptionist who has no clue about your job, your resume is going to seem irrelevant.